So it's currently 9:45 p.m. on day 5 of posting every day in August. And at 9:45 p.m., I still don't really know what I want to talk about in this video. I say this as I've turned on the camera, still kind of figuring out what I can put out today. But one thing I do know for sure is that I will get this video up because I made the commitment to myself. And what I'm finding very interesting about this daily posting exercise, just 5 days in, is when you make something non-negotiable, like seriously non-negotiable, you will find pockets of time in your day, or you will shuffle things around, you will reprioritize, and you will find a way to make it happen. So in normal circumstances, as we get closer to 10 p.m., I would be winding down and I would think, that's okay, I'll just do it tomorrow. But for all I know, this could be the video. This could be the video that turns my channel around. This could be the video that gives me some sort of breakthrough in my own thinking. This could be the video that I post and say, I'm so proud of myself because I really wasn't prepared, nor did I feel like posting on this day. I think anything can come from this. Now let's get into the topic of today's video, in which I'm going to share with you a draft of my next Substack article. I'm pretty proud of this piece because it really encapsulates both the experience, the journey, and the lessons I have been through and picked up over the last 18 months to 2 years. And I also think this could be quite relatable for other people. It's about 99% there, if I'm honest. I don't feel like it's quite ready to share, but that is exactly why I need to share it. In the spirit of the things I'm trying to work through in this daily posting challenge, sharing work before it's ready, sharing work early to get feedback and just put myself out there, do those reps, and consistency over perfection. Getting it out is more important than refining that last little piece. So with that being said, let me share with you my next Substack, which is titled, I Have the Perfect Job. In early 2025, I spent 6 grueling months looking for the next step in my career. I approached the search with a kind of intention usually reserved for buying a house or choosing a life partner. I made a list, I got specific, I refused to settle. I wanted a role that was incredibly well paid, was fully remote, and gave me real flexibility. I wanted generous parental leave, strong health benefits, and maybe a few miscellaneous allowances that would make life feel a little easier. I wanted interesting work, a recognizable and reputable company name, with a high-performing team that I could learn from. This was a lot to ask for, but by the end of my job search, I had all of the above and more. Every single criteria on my 2025 Notion goals board had been ticked off. On paper, this job was hard to deny as not being perfect. It offered the financial upside I wanted with a multiple 6-figure salary, generous stock options, fully remote and flexible, 6 months paid maternity leave, and a slew of other benefits, plus work that was genuinely challenging and brand recognition. The kind of brand recognition where people are impressed when you tell them where you work. In fact, at a family gathering a few months ago, someone told me I was living their dream career, and asked if I would refer them to the company one day. I remember feeling grateful, and of course I smiled and said yes. I've always been intentional, sometimes to a fault, about my career. Before I had even started working, I had a clear idea of the kind of career I wanted to build. I got the Big 4 job out of university. I got to work at companies that I admired. I even started my own company and got funding. I got the head of title, I got the team, I did the travel. With each move, I got more money, more equity, and a bigger title. Each move felt deliberate. learn a new thing to learn, a new level to reach, a new box to tick, and another chance to prove I was good at wanting things and then going after them. I basically considered myself a master manifester. And then I got this job, which I deemed perfect based on my self-defined criteria. Then a few months later, everything started to crumble. I vividly remember my first few tears about the job were in August 2025, only a few months after starting. It wasn't one dramatic incident. It was more confusing than that. I had everything I had asked for, yet I felt increasingly flat, anxious, and miserable. I just felt wrong. Not just wrong in the role. The feeling of wrong had extended to my life. But alongside those feelings came guilt. I was equally confused and embarrassed because I had created the checklist. I had been intentional in my search. I had wanted the salary, the flexibility, the brand, the benefits, and the challenge. Nobody had forced this job on me. How could I be unhappy when I was so lucky? How could I complain about a job other people would kill to have? How could I contemplate leaving knowing my friends were struggling to find jobs? For a while, I treated my unhappiness like a personal failure. I assumed I needed to be more grateful, more resilient, more patient. Surely the problem was me. I started to believe this so much that it actually started to knock my confidence. In the year that would follow, I reflected on why I felt so disconnected from something I had pursued so deliberately. It took many months, but I finally realized what I had missed. My wish list had been incredibly detailed, but I had forgotten one very important criteria. I had not written or specified that I want to feel energized by my work, that I want to enjoy it, that I want to feel supported, and that I want to feel like myself. That feels so obvious now, but at the time I had been so focused on building an impressive life that I forgot to ask whether it would be a life I actually wanted to live. Now, I don't think this means external criteria are not important. Money matters, flexibility matters, benefits matter, but they cannot tell you everything. A job can look perfect on paper and still be imperfect for you, or more accurately, imperfect for you right now. So here are my lessons from this whole experience. 1, you can get exactly what you want and still discover that it is not right for you. 2, just like life, each step in your career is for your own growth. I need to work on that lesson. 3, it's okay to admit if something is not working. 4, when something isn't working, lean into what it is trying to teach you. And 5, listen to the early signs and signals. My perfect job was not a mistake. It gave me what I thought I wanted, and more importantly, it showed me what I had forgotten to ask for. Now, that doesn't mean the job is objectively bad. It doesn't mean that I was foolish for wanting it. It doesn't mean I need to turn the experience into a neat story about failure. Sometimes a job is simply imperfect for the version of you who has arrived there. That's my draft Substack, and reading that out loud, I'm pretty proud of how it's come together. And it feels quite vulnerable to openly share this, but I think it's such a powerful lesson. And if this lesson can, help even one other person out there, then amazing. But at the very least, I'm really glad I'm documenting this for myself, both in terms of how far I've come, but the lessons and the growth that I've had. And yeah, I think I'll leave it there for day 5's video. Thanks for watching, and that's another rep done. I'll see you for day 6 tomorrow.